Hello everyone, welcome to MRCOG Part 1 learning course along with Dr. Sai Neha. So here I want to discuss about two questions. In this I got a confusion among these two questions and I kept the answer wrong. So I just want to clarify this along with and share with you. In this question, which of the following biomolecules are correctly paired with their placental transport methods? So here the transport is in placenta. So here the correct answer is active transport amino acids. So amino acids are transported by active transport. So here I kept glucose via passive diffusion because I remembered glucose is transported as facilitated diffusion in some other question. So I have remembered that and kept it as passive diffusion. But the correct answer is active transport amino acids. It is in placental transport methods. So the solution is the growing fetus also undergoes various body metabolism that requires transport of molecules across the placenta along with movement of gases for respiration and transport of metabolites and waste for excretion purposes. The movement of any substance across one medium to another medium largely depends upon its size, and hence the type of transport can be active, passive or facilitated, along with some additional types like endocytosis and exocytosis. So here transport across the placenta, these are the following. Passive diffusion, like without any carrier protein, oxygen, carbon dioxide, free fatty acids and urea are transported via passive diffusion. Amino acids are by active transport. So here one mnemonic: active transport amino acids A and A. Glucose is transported by facilitated diffusion. Glucose facilitated diffusion needs a carrier protein. So here the carrier protein is GLUT. The carrier protein for the glucose transport via facilitated diffusion is GLUT receptors. For the transport of IgG antibodies, it is receptor mediated endocytosis. So in another question, I have faced this confusion. Which is this: through which of the following does glucose mediated insulin release occurs? Here also there is glucose, and but here the transport is glucose mediated insulin release. Here the answer is ATP sensitive potassium channel. But I have remembered that facilitated diffusion in another question, that is in placenta. So I have kept carrier mediated because it is facilitated diffusion in placenta. So don't get confused. Here glucose mediated insulin release is by ATP sensitive potassium channel, whereas in glucose transport that is occurring in placenta is by facilitated diffusion via GLUT receptors. So here the solution is primary controller of insulin secretion is increased blood glucose concentration. Hence glucose mediated insulin release occurs through ATP sensitive potassium channel. ATP is generated while glucose is glucose is converted to glucose 6 phosphate. This ATP in turn leads to the increase in potassium channel and depolarization by closing the ATP sensitive potassium channel. This in turn opens the calcium channel and eventually leading to insulin secretion via exocytosis. So glucose is converted to glucose 6 phosphate, resulting in the ATP release. This ATP in turn releases potassium, and this potassium releases calcium, finally leading to the insulin release. So I just want to tell, glucose mediated insulin release is by ATP sensitive potassium channel, whereas glucose release in placenta is by facilitated diffusion.